Let's move on and meet our special guest for the morning. Ladies and gentlemen, the fabulous singer, Gabrielle! Now, Gabrielle, of course, became a household name in the 90s with her monster hit Dreams. She sold over 1 million albums in the UK alone and won an Outstanding Achievement Award at the Urban Music Awards in November. And having been away from the music scene, you went away to look after your son, didn't you?
That's right, yeah, but he's a big old man now. He's 12.
12. Enough said.
That's right.
Scary. Was it a big decision, difficult decision to decide to come back?
The thing is, everyone says, you know, why were you away? And, you know, you've come back. I never really went away. Each album, every time I deliver an album, the first one was 93, the second was 96, the third is 99. So I've been pretty consistent.
All the way through, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just a case of, I think that as more artists are coming out, my record company are thinking, we've got a lazy old bird here. You know what I mean? So the pressure's on, you know, so, yeah. But, no, I never went away. You know, always quietly from, you know, the outside watching, seeing what's happening, thinking, I can't wait to come back and do my stuff.
There's a part of me, I'll be honest, there's a part of me that wants to crawl over onto your face, behind your sunglasses, into a little ball.
It's big enough, isn't it?
It's big enough. I could get my house behind those sunglasses.
I reckon you're right. But
if I put those glasses on, I wouldn't be here. Rather like warts. You could use that as a line, couldn't you? So, you're back. You're back. Now, we have a we've got a new single we should talk about first. Yeah. We've got a clip standing by. It's called Every Little Teardrop. It came out on Monday. Now, that is taken from Gabrielle's new album. It's called Always. The single's out this week, by the way, and selling very well, which I'm not surprised about. It's a great tune.
Thank you.
Where'd you get your inspiration from?
Just life. I say I'm a bit lazy when it comes to kind of, you know, waking up and saying, well, what am I going to write about today? I've got an archive of stuff that's happened to me, so why not write about that? You know what I mean?
It's been a hell of a life, yours, hasn't it? It really has. There's no shortage of material that I suppose to be gleaned from it.
So it's easy for me to do that. And, you know, it's been ups and downs and, you know, but I wouldn't change a thing. And, yeah, I get loads of stuff to write about.
Good for you. Great to have you with us. It really is an absolute treat for me and for everybody at home. Talking about this, though, it's the headlines. Gabrielle, what's making news today?
Right, well, actually, it's The Sun today, and the headline is, you know, they're up the creek without a paddle.
That would be our canoeist story, I would imagine.
It is definitely, it's crazy. I mean, I think it's funny myself.
I do too.
You know, the idea, I mean, it's all alleged at the moment, right? So, you know, alleged, but come off it. They're banged to rights on this one, but I'm saying no more.
Definitely alleged.
You know, it's alleged.
Oh, what else have we got?
Right, from The Guardian today, it's basically the cash for questions. Not even the cash for questions, that's another headline, isn't it? This is Guardian.
Is the cash for building
sites.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
Labour,
allegedly.
That's right. It's alleged again. Labour helped Abraham set up secret cash transfers. Okay. Right, from the Times this morning, we have pressure on bank as house prices fall, which I think that concerns a lot of people.
Yeah.
The idea that for 3 months in a row now, the prices have plummeted, and they're saying, you know, stuff to the tune of £5,000, and it's like, well, you know, there's pressure on the banks now to cut interest rates, which would help a lot of people.
Today, they're saying.
Yeah, well, that would be good. Then house prices.
But you know, because I'm sitting there thinking, well, house prices are ludicrously over the top. 3 months of falls is very bad news for anyone trying to sell their house right now, and I'm very sympathetic.
Right, back to The Guardian again, and this actually deals with dogs. If anybody out there is dog lovers, you know, we love the dogs, but dogs are smarter than we think, study shows. I mean, come off it. I mean, I always said dogs are cleverer than most guys, so I'd rather have one than But I'm sorry. That slipped out.
So they're saying the thing which I find absolutely bizarre, that dogs are capable of abstract thought.
I mean, what, you know, the money spent on these things.
Yeah. Lovely. OK. What do you think social attitudes have changed, Gabrielle, to drink driving?
I think that possibly, in fact, no, it's a fact. And I just think that what you were saying earlier, the fact, I think it should be a custodial offence, and really that they should just, you know...
Straight away.
Straight away. And the thing is, 5 years and maybe, you know, a year in prison. You know, because at the end of the day, you've got to think there are parents out there or families out there who are without loved ones because somebody decided to get in their car and drive, and yet we don't throw the book at them, and that's why year after year they do it again.
We know that muggers don't go to prison. So the notion that and I think this is kind of why people, and I think it is a contributing factor why people don't review drink drive as such a serious crime, because one, they know they're not going to get sent to prison. It'd be very unlikely because the prisons are full, and in the grand pecking order of crime, drink drive has to become, doesn't it, below mugging? It's not as bad.
No, but it's still dangerous.
Oh, it's still dangerous.
It's dangerous.
I think there's an interesting distinction as well, though, Gabrielle, because there's a difference between drink driving and drunk driving. It's a sort of vague area.
But it kind of
I think there is.
The same thing. I mean, obviously, you know, you'll say people go out there and they may take the opportunity or the chance it and have one or two drinks. But the bottom line is, if you then end up killing somebody because, you know, all right, I don't know how much you have to have, and it's down to the individual before you kind of lose all sense of judgment. But the bottom line is, think of the person who receives the news that actually a drink driver. And I think we need to
the whole way you're talking about it, in terms of chancing it and in terms of the risk factor
and
trying to gauge.
People are playing the risk game.
It's a crime. And as long as people are able to have a drink and get in a car, there will be these accidents.
Gabrielle, you've released records in December, I know, in the past, but yours didn't have any Christmas in it.
No, very foolish now, I realise. You know, maybe I should go and strip one onto my album now. You know?
I mean, if you think about it from an artist's point of view, it's an earner.
Extremely lucrative.
So why don't people do them?
I'm kicking myself. No, totally. Look, now I want to run off. Look, can I leave now? No, I think that, you know something, I think that a lot of artists today, it's the idea of wanting to appear cool. And who, you know, and the younger ones, like, who wants to kind of put Christmas in your tune that you want everyone to listen to? But now I think watching this show and realising that you could earn some serious ching. I think, you know, it's something that people should, you know, contemplate. But
it's
like,
the only record right, that any artist is going to have that gets repeated over and over again every year.
Yeah. And it definitely will be a classic. You know, people always look for the classic song, but, you know, you've got a great Christmas tune, like you say, sleighs, etc. They're still, you know, coining it in years or centuries after the fact.
It's just people are too cool to make Christmassy records.
And also I think sometimes radio, when you think of people like Cliff Richard, I remember there was a time when, you know, radio wouldn't play him. How dare you not play such a British icon as Cliff Richard?
Easy, Gabrielle.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, but, you know, the idea, he was out, you know, and, you know, if he'd come up with a Christmas single, it would be #1 if radio jumped on it. Maybe only at Christmas, you know, but maybe we should be looking at...
radio's not supportive.
Yeah, sometimes they're not always supportive, and I think the idea of being cool, it's a combination of things, but I think that, you know what, record companies should use you, darling. They should kind of hire...
They couldn't afford me, Gabrielle.
Probably right there.
I've seen how many records they've sold this year. They can't afford a Christmas party, they can't afford diddly. Janet, your daughter, why hasn't she done one, the Sophie Christmas single?
Well, because unless it is a #1 that sells and people play it continually, it's an awful lot of work for actually not many sales. You know, the bigger sales are in, as you know, the bigger sales are after Christmas. They're kind of around Valentine's Day, Mother's Day. That's the biggest bump in the record-selling year. So,
but only for that one time round with the Christmas records, even if they don't make #1. That Greg Lake Father Christmas one, I mean, that was about #4, I think. And it's on every compilation
Chris
album.
Rea, you know, Driving Home for Christmas, a fantastic song. But The Darkness tried to come up with one, didn't they? Christmas Time, Don't Let the Bells End, which I think didn't get to #2. It wasn't to #1.
I think it was the bell end bit that put my gran off.
Bells
end, sorry.
Don't let the bells end.
But isn't there something also in the fact that the Christmas #1 no longer has the kudos it used to? Because
there hasn't been a Christmassy #1. That's why. But I mean, for 17 years, Dominic.
But for years, it used to be who was #1 on Christmas Day. That was the kudos. But that's gone really. But also, we have these great songs from yesteryear. They're only played for 4 weeks of the year, which people will never get tired of.
Every year.
Yeah, but that's why. And more fool, Gabrielle, the people who are making records.
Don't sit on the fence, Dominic. Is that how you feel?
Well, no, the glasses I was struggling with, but now... no, Christmas #1s, the record industry has changed. Downloading now, people aren't buying singles like they used to.
Well, 12 and Jordan?
My son's 12, yeah. I mean, luckily for him and for me, he's a bit of a clever clogs.
Is he?
But so he's, you know, when he had to do his entrance exam, etc. But, you know, the idea of having to tell him that he has been unsuccessful, I'd probably be the scaredy cat who kind of use the most easiest term possible to alleviate the stress.
Such as...
Because I feel like a failure myself.
Well, that's
it.
I think that's true. But what is the easiest term? What would be the words? I mean, it is very difficult.
I probably wouldn't use words. I'd just get a private tutor and just have him extra work every single blooming day. No, I think it is hard, and I think, you know, we're all individuals, and how we deal with it. It'd be like, I know I'm a bit of a one to mollycoddle, but at the same time, you've got to kind of give them a bit of backbone. Yeah. You don't want to use it at such a young age, because when you think about sociological terms and, you know, the self-fulfilling prophecy, the idea, if you're telling them at such a young age that you're a failure, then why would they try and strive to achieve anything if they've been told for such a young age? So I think, really, it's got to be relative. They're young, you can afford to mollycoddle them just a bit, but at the same time have that positive reinforcement that, you know what, you can achieve. And, you know, if at first you don't succeed, try again and again and again until, you know,
the reverse of that is telling them they haven't failed when they have will make them just continue doing less well than they might do.
Yeah. And as I said, even, you know, at the end of the day, fail, off to Westminster.